I don't just talk about other people's stuff, I also make my own. Books in particular. To date, I have 4 books you can check out on Amazon. Operation Red Dragon: The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and the short story collection Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Hop on down to the description for Amazon links to all 4 books. Enjoy whichever ones you read, and enjoy the video. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Omni viewer, and there are 3 things that I really enjoy. Classic monsters, collectibles, and Mel Brooks movies. Today's video is one of those rare occasions where all 3 of those intersect, as I'll be looking at a pair of young Frankenstein figures from the Mego Corporation. Mego has been producing a lot of collectible figures based on classic movies these days, and I can safely say they are collectibles because the age on the package says 17 and up, which I definitely am. If you're a regular collector, you know this style already. Sort of a throwback to the classic G.I. Joe line in terms of general sculpt, articulation, and fabric attire. In general, I find the clothing can limit the posing options, but having naked figures in your display makes for awkward dinner parties, so you just have to work within the limitations and hope for the best. There's nothing new here in that regard, so let's zero in on the details of the monster and Frederick Frankenstein.
That's Frankenstein.
As you can see, the figures are dressed up like $2 million troopers, as they are during the classic song and dance routine. The suits are basically the same on each figure and are quite sharp, even sporting pocket squares. The monster has a few loose threads on one sleeve, but otherwise they look immaculate. That being said, the jackets don't quite fit as well as they should. The heads are the main thing that set these 2 apart, and considering the retro style, they look amazingly accurate. Frederick matches Gene Wilder's look in that film right down to the wild hair, while the monster is a dead ringer for Peter Boyle. They are simplified likenesses meant to invoke the feel of an older toy style, as mentioned, but they still look great given that context. The monster has a bluish-gray skin tone as opposed to the usual green associated with his more serious cousin. This, combined with the dark paint on his lips and around his eyes, as well as the light gray shading and various other lines indicating scars, help make him look like a proper reanimated corpse. Now, given that the 2 figures are the same height and general build, one might assume that there would not be much variation between the 2 beyond their heads. If I were to remove their clothes, this video would never see the light of day, but it's pretty obvious that they do have the same basic torsos and limbs, leading them to be the same size unlike in the films. Thanks to the monster's right pant leg being hiked up a little though, we can see that the monster is blue-gray all the way down, even for the parts you can't see. It's a nice little detail, and even more differences can be found beyond this. For example, while Frederick's hands have the fingers fused together and curled inward, the monster's hands are wide open with spread fingers, a small difference that makes a huge difference in energy. Even the feet are different, with Frankenstein's shoes being broad and rounded, while the monster's are narrow and pointed. It does seem like those shapes are a bit backwards, I admit, but that's the way they come. Both figures have the same accessories, matching top hats and canes made of plastic so they can properly put on the Ritz. The monster's hat fits him okay, though the doctor's rests oddly atop that wild hairdo. As for the canes, forget about it. These hands were not made to hold things, so any promo images you may have seen of these guys doing so are lying to you. Now, it is possible to cheat a little and pose the figures so it looks like they're holding the canes, but it's more accurate to say they're resting against the figures. You know, I have found some odd issues with these 2, and if we were dealing with figures from any other work, I might take umbrage with them. But these are Mel Brooks characters we're talking about. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think these strange quirks make the figures kind of funny. And that's the real point, isn't it? So I'm quite satisfied with these figures as they are. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni viewer signing off. I personally vote that we just assume the monster figure has an enormous Schwanstucker and leave it at that. Congratulations, you reached the end. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to consider supporting us on Patreon. Of course, the other way to support us is to go to Amazon and check out our books, Operation Red Dragon, The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, The Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Also check the description for links to DeviantArt and other platforms we operate. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.